Let it never be said we don't do prep work. 3, 2, 1. Hey, folks, I'm Sean Hatfield. Wait, that ain't right. Let's do that all the fuck over again. Fuck.
Are you not Sean Hatfield?
I am Sean Hatfield, but that's not how the intro goes. All right. For reals this time.
I think you should leave that in. Go for it.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Hey, folks. Welcome to Bouncing Brains. This is July 30th,
July.
Tuesday. We're recording this. This is episode 67. I'm Sean Hatfield. Almost got all that right.
And I'm Freddy G.
And he told me I didn't get that shit right. But yeah, man. So, Freddy, you were going to kick us off.
What do you think is there's no other way to get into this shit but to jump into the shit.
Feet
So
first.
what do you think? What do you think? For as long as we've been living in this country, what do you really think is really real? And what do you think are some of the biggest lies that we've been told? As far as like some of the things that we've touched on before, like we think, or I'll speak for myself on all these things, and then if y'all want to chime in and include yourself, that's up to you. But like for example, like I don't believe the moon landing is real, but I do believe in aliens, and I do believe that they are withholding information, of course.
Is this how you try to talk us into doing the road gig to Area 51?
Something like that. Yeah. We're taking our barbecue pits and everything.
I don't have enough. I don't have enough vacation time to do something
It's
like
not
that.
Nevada's not that far.
No, it's just. I think my mom's gonna have me come over and do something that day. I'm just gonna be real busy, dude.
See, Leo's a
Yeah.
survivor. He knows how to avoid where the guns are at.
Yeah, dude.
May get mugged in a dark alley, but he's not going to get shot on a front line.
I'm not gonna die.
Yeah. I mean, it's stupid. I'm not saying go raid Area 51. I think that was the stupidest idea. And if 400,000 people do plan to do that, I do believe that 400,000 people will get shot.
I don't think Hitler died in World War II.
Yeah,
The way he did.
I don't.
I don't know exactly. I have a plethora of theories that I believe at any point in time.
I agree. I actually do believe that he either died of old age
Yeah.
or health reasons.
You were laughing, Sean. Why? You
You really think he committed suicide? That's what he did, right?
yeah.
Or that's what they told us.
I don't know if he committed suicide, man. If you're in a bunker in under Berlin while it's burning and it's you and your chick and a couple of guys who you're pretty sure are loyal to you, those dudes might want to make it. You never hear about the motherfuckers that were like there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, well, Hitler, either Ava shot Ava or Hitler shot Ava and then Hitler shot Hitler, or maybe Ava shot Hitler and then shot Ava. But there were other people around, like not the kind of motherfucker that's going to go into a bunker by himself. He's going to have a staff. And I don't know if I was a German citizen and this was the dude who basically got my country burned to the fucking ground.
Yeah.
That might be the time that, you go Gaddafi on a motherfucker, start fucking, take them bayonet dildos and start going to town on the motherfuckers.
Oh, I thought
You
you
want
were
me to
going
pull
to
up
say.
a video of
We do not need to watch Gaddafi dying.
Okay, all right.
To quote the great Hillary Clinton, we came, we saw, he died.
He died. Ha 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 ha.
Oh, that bitch is evil.
Yeah.
You got to respect, though, man. You got to respect.
Yeah. We used to Gaddafi each other, which is where we take our hand like this.
Oh, good God.
Yeah.
I know the military has a long tradition of the knife hand, but you've taken it too far.
Yeah. It's.
I mean, I thought the credit card was bad, but that's
Impalement.
just a gentle love touch.
By knife hand.
What's the I forget what that's called, the wrestling move where you reach in and like grip them, like basically grip that soft tissue right by the fucking ass and just use it as a fucking lever.
Yeah, fuck, dude. That's just.
Oh, it's
hurts.
brutal,
That
dude.
hurts, dude.
That goes back to the Greeks, man.
Yeah, man. I saw.
Oh, you know why the Spartans didn't want to participate in the Olympics?
Why?
Because they didn't allow crotch ripping in wrestling.
Oh shit.
And
Dude.
crotch ripping is exactly what it sounds like. Yeah. Whoo.
Dude. Oh fuck.
And that is why the cup was the first piece of athletic equipment ever invented.
Well, what a segue.
Okay, lies, big lies. I'll go for something a little more philosophical, man. The U.S. has never been a true meritocracy or a place where anything even remotely close to the American dream exists. The caveat to that being, it's kind of like that speech from Terry Pratchett. It's like you got to pretend, you know, there are some big lies that we got to tell ourselves, like the world has meaning, the universe is a purposeful place that has some intention and it's righteous on some level. We got no fucking evidence of that, man. But like the moment you start thinking that this nation is the abominable pits of hell that you could paint the story that it is, you kind of lose the battle. I mean, don't get me wrong. Don't sleepwalk through fucking life by any means, people. Get your fucking head straight. Do your homework. But yeah, man, you got to believe in something or you're not going to be useful for anything.
I just, damn it, I was going somewhere with some of what you said.
And as far as
I remember. Yeah, the you hit a point there, like the whole American dream thing.
What's Carlin's line? They call
Yeah,
it a dream
that's
because you got to be asleep
yeah.
to believe it.
That's exactly where I was going for.
And that's one of the reasons I think the old man was entirely too cynical towards the end there, man. He was the lovable grouch, but I don't think he was saying anything with. I mean, if nobody had ever told you that before, by all means, go give the small child some Carlin and let them go, what the fuck is he talking about? But if you're a grown ass adult, at some point you got to temper the cynicism. And I think Carlin just dived headfirst into the cynicism. There was no joy left. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, man, like there is we were actually I was talking to somebody yesterday or the day before, because they brought up 9/11, and I'm one of the few people that leans about 70% towards it being an inside job.
Okay, but it's a big inside.
Yep.
You don't know where, you just know somebody
See,
inside.
and you know what's more convincing that it is? A lot of fucking people don't even know what was in those buildings. Before I go further, do y'all know what was in those buildings?
It was commercial space, like offices. People would rent out offices. There was what's it called?
As far as let me rephrase the question. As far as the U.S. government, do you know what was in those buildings? As far as the U.S.,
Office
at least one of them was a repository, not a suppository.
I was like,
though
what
that could
the
be,
fuck?
to be honest, a lot of it was shit that was shoved up somebody's ass. The accounting archives for, I want to say, the Pentagon, the FBI, and at least one other organization.
Yeah.
And that was Building 7. The one that fell mysteriously.
There was that's one point, but there was also files and files and files and rooms full of the U.S. debt.
That's what I'm.
Basically,
That's what I mean by the accounting stuff, man. Like,
yeah.
What was it? Maybe 2 or 3 days before that is when Donald Rumsfeld came out and gave that whole speech about how we were missing $4 trillion from the Pentagon's budget.
Yeah.
It just disappeared.
Yeah.
So,
like with that alone, that kind of.
Yeah.
But then you would also think, like, this is money that we owe to like other countries, so it would only be logical that the other countries keep copies of these papers of like debt that is owed from the U.S. to them. But then you could also make the argument that the U.S. being such as big of a country as they are, they could just be like, "Oh, okay, well you made that up." And in a sense, because the U.S. always plays the good guy, there, like you could make the argument that if that argument was made, they would believe more so of the U.S. Like we don't have tracks of any of those records or anything. Those are records that you could have just made up or what have you. I mean, yeah, I get it. There's a lot of technicalities, but I'm just saying like the gist of it. And this is why I keep saying that the deficit, the U.S. deficit that they have as far as the whatever 23, 24 trillion, whatever the fuck it is, at this point, honestly, is just a number that is there to put fear into the rest of America.
The problem with that, I agree with you for the most part. I don't think it's something we're ever going to pay back. But the problem with wholly defining it as just a number and not taking into account that does on some level reflect choices made by our government as far as lending and borrowing and the whole fucking repertoire of money wasting operations they go through. You get to some bullshit like modern economic. What is it? Modern economic theory or modern economic model or shit. My point being was that you get these people with this idea that like, well, we can just, since we do have a fiat economy, we can just print more money and offset inflation that way. And you get into a death spiral.
Well, not only that, but you can't just print money. People forget that in order for the government, well, according to the government, in order for the government to print more money, you need to have the gold to back it up.
No. We've been off the gold standard since 1971, I believe. Actually, dig on this, man, because of... fuck, Leo, you might have to look up the proper term for this, but it's the method of accounting where basically transactional something or other. The idea is basically a bank is only obligated to have 10% of their current holdings on hand, which means if 10% of their customers, well, not even 10%, if any of their customers show up and decide to pull out more than 10% of the value that they are currently supposed to be holding, that they are currently accountable for.
Quick interjection. Since the Great Depression, we've been off the gold standard.
Really? I thought, okay.
Yeah.
I know they called in the gold during the Great Depression, but what did Nixon do to take us off the gold?
No, that's right. My bad. I read it wrong. I'm a little...
Yeah, they made it illegal for private citizens to hold gold, and that should have been the first fucking red flag right there, man.
They cut it off in 1971. Nixon.
Yeah, they took us off the gold standard. Fort Knox became basically a savings bank for international holders. Well, hell, they're doing the same thing to Britain that they basically did over here at the moment, which nations are pulling their gold out of Britain's banks.
Yeah.
Fuck them. Yeah, man. Look, this goes to what I'm saying about, like, there's got to be... You know what? Do me a favor, man. Look up Terry Pratchett, Believing Lies, or Little Lies. It's the whole idea is basically like the premise Pratchett takes is the
Little Lies. Yeah,
just put up Terry Pratchett Little Lies. Either if you can find the transcript, which is probably better than finding. It's a quote from the Hogfather. Let's see, raise it down here.
First of all, I would say, can you give us some back history on this book?
Well, no. If I read the right part, you don't need to know a damn thing.
The Hogfather.
I'll explain it in a second, but scroll down.
What is the Hogfather?
Okay. Back up. Okay. Yes, as a practice, you have to start out learning to believe the little lies, so we can believe the big ones. Yes, justice, mercy, duty, that sort of thing. They're not the same at all. You think so? Then
Yeah.
take the universe and grind it down to the finest powder and sieve it through the finest sieve, and then show me one atom of justice, one molecule of mercy. And yet you act if there is some if there is some ideal order in the world, as if there is some rightness in the universe, which by it may be judged. Yes, but people have got to believe that, or what's the point? My point exactly. Now, granted, fantasy author, and he does humor. This whole thing is basically
Is this like a dystopian like society?
No. It's a fantasy novel that takes place on a flat planet on the back of a giant turtle that flies through space.
That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, but there the Hogfather is a take on the pagan origins of holidays like Christmas and the various iterations that belief goes through. The point being is the belief in the thing is what makes the thing grow. A great example would be something like where, say, Muslim reformists right now that are trying to kind of basically have their own reformation, in the sense that when you hear anybody talk about the idea of, well, jihad actually means the internal fight against evil in your own soul, that's a reformist. That's not what the Quran says. The Quran literally says, go out and fight the fucking war.
Yeah.
But you're trying to change that because we realize as modern human beings, you can't fight the fucking war. But not being able to believe in that
But there's
idea.
there's a lot of references towards stuff like that in other like like biblical texts as well, like the Bible,
Pick a holy book, man. It probably says something about that.
I think it explains.
The thing is, unless I'm misquoting, and I'm not going to quote it all because I've never made it all the way through the book. I'm not going to lie. But they're basically the jihad is not the same thing as the internal struggle. There is an internal struggle, but that's not what that means. But they're trying to change that. Good for them. I hope they, same thing happened in Christianity, man. There was, if you go back and read the literal text.
I think whenever these books and texts were written, they were not meant to be taken literally.
Oh, no, man. A lot of this was meant to be taken very fucking literally.
I mean, I think maybe if you try to if you try to give them place now, and maybe this goes along with what this book is about.
Well, okay, let me differentiate here. Where it says, 1,000 heads on, some of the quotes about, Jacob climbed the ladder and all that stuff. Yeah. Okay, that not quite literal. Yeah. But when it says, don't fucking mix your fabrics, stay away from shellfish and stone adulterers.
Yeah, if you
that was literal.
If you look at the subtext around stuff like that, like it explains more than just like, hey, stay away from this. Like, let me see if I could bring up a
Leviticus is what you're looking for, where it goes through that entire list. And granted, Old Testament, man, that's some old Hebrew shit that at its time probably saved lives, saved a lot of lives. My point being is, you can take all of that, the idea that there are things that we have to believe, otherwise the world will not make sense, and it would make more logical, rational sense to just go straight warlord on a motherfucker. We have to believe in money. Money can't be this figment of our imagination. It has to be an actual ideal and a concept that we're working with. So when these people kind of go, it doesn't matter. No. If debt doesn't matter, then the entire underpinnings of our modern economic system, which is flawed, top to bottom, no fucking doubt.
Well, to even think that there's a modern economic system, or to even think that we can play or put together a modern economic system that won't be flawed, is kind of ridiculous. It's kind of its own like lie.
Well, I think the decentralization that you're seeing is a lot of that is a self-preservation in the sense that if you distance, the whole with the bank failures that we had in 2009, 2000, all into that shit, was the whole too big to fail concept is that, well, shit, we're all tied together. This can't go down. And it's like, well, if it can't go down, then we probably shouldn't have built it that high to begin with. And there are a lot of people that argue our best bet would have been to let all of those institutions fail, and it would have basically fallen back to thousands and thousands of small, regional, even municipal banks to take on that business. Maybe they could have done it. Maybe they couldn't have. You know what I mean? What other institutions would have been brought down with the larger banks? I mean, once you had the whole Glass-Steagall repeal under Clinton, I believe it was in '98, man, where the savings banks and the investment banks, they all had their money in the same place. So the issue we're having with Social Security right now, all our money is in one fucking pot. So
yeah, well, it's because we keep pulling from that pot. I mean, typically it shouldn't be in that one pot, you know.
True.
But it's an unjust system, and it's just like, if you look at it, it is flawed, but you could take advantage of it. You could make use of it, you know.
Okay,
you
think about it like this. The way the government's budget works at this point is they take a big ass fucking bowl and they go up to everybody in the party and require you to pour out a couple of drinks of yours. You know what I mean? Whatever it is, you just got to pour some into the bowl.
Yeah.
And then they go to a keg that some magical fairy fills up every once in a while, and they just turn the tap on that shit, and the Fed gives them what the fuck they need.
Yeah. Well, what they also don't tell you is that after all that's done, if you've poured out a little bit more than everybody else in that bowl, you get some of that drink back. Yeah. You get, you know, you get a little bit, not a lot, you know? And then if you do it well enough, you could save that drink and get really fucked up at that party, you know?
I may be misquoting, but there's either a piece of legislation that just went through or that was coming up that would basically prohibit the government from offering free filing services for income tax online.
Like, for real?
Yeah, I remember that.
Which is that's pure fucking nonsense. Yeah. I mean, we talked about this before, man. Like the whole thing, it's like, okay, the math scores are getting worse and worse on average. Our good math scores are fucking high as shit. Don't ever let people tell you that Americans are dumb. Like, we got some smart motherfuckers here. But on the whole, yes, the grades are getting worse. We're not affecting that. And you're telling me you want those people as citizens to have to calculate how much money they owe the government at the end of the fucking year? You're out of your fucking mind.
Did you guys take finance?
Leo, you're off the mic. Nobody can hear you, man. Shit, man. Sorry, Freddy. We were getting into big lies. Let's get into some philosophical lies, man. Because, I mean, you can go, point on point. As far as the moon goes, man, I think it's quite possible that we went up and circled the motherfucker and didn't actually bother to do the landing. That shit.
No, I don't think that happened either. Like,
so where do you think the rocket went?
I mean, this is gonna sound crazy, but I really
Fake rocket?
Yeah, I really believe everything was staged. That simple.
Well, you can't fake that many because there's private footage of NASA launches.
I think a couple were filmed by Stanley Kubrick, bro. Call me like a conspiracy theorist, dude, but like you see all the details in all his movies. You see the stuff in The Shining. You see the stuff in A Space Odyssey, dude. This guy was.
I'm assuming you've seen. Was it Room 263?
No.
That might not be the correct title, but it's basically the number on the room in The Shining where he finds the old lady.
Oh yeah.
Is supposed to be. It's now granted the moon doesn't always stay the exact same distance.
Was it a documentary explaining like the
kinda? They were going through the various theories as to why people believe that. Yeah. One, they believe that Stanley Kubrick filmed the moon landings, but also two, they believe that The Shining was some attempt by Kubrick to confess to that.
Yeah, I mean it felt like it too, because if you talk to his like I got all this information. I'm gonna be honest. I got all this information. I looked it up, and it kind of like checked out for me. But you guys ever listen to that radio station Coast to Coast, the radio show Coast to Coast?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, dude. I was listening to them one day, and I was just like looking into it while I was like hearing all this stuff, bro. And it was like, dude, it checked out, bro. It made me look at The Shining again, and how like different. I never read the book. I read the book, and it's not the same as the book, dude.
One of my favorite.
They took a lot of liberties with that story.
One of my favorite little details that gets pointed out is in the book. I believe in the movie.
There's no twins in the book.
What? Oh, that too. But what I'm saying is the little beetle that they're driving up to the hotel in the beginning is, I think it's yellow in the movie, and then in the book it was a blue beetle. And the scene where the shit, I can't remember the guy's name, man. It's Scatman Carruthers, I think, is who plays the character. But
the bartender guy,
a groundskeeper, bartender, whatever he is. Yeah. when he's racing back to the hotel after the kid gets in touch with him, he sees an accident on the side of the road, and it's a blue beetle crushed underneath a trailer. And the idea was that that shot was basically Kubrick telling Stephen King, "Fuck you, I took your story."
Oh damn, dude!
Because King wasn't happy with what Kubrick ended up doing with it.
Yeah, he didn't like the movie. He was completely against it.
Which just shows the difference. Like, you can say all you want. You can say a bunch of horrible shit about Arthur C. Clarke. He's probably not the shining beacon of humanity that he sometimes gets propped up as. But the way that he took first of all, he was co-writing that with Kubrick, 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yeah.
But Arthur C. Clarke took and wrote his own fucking book.
Yeah.
And Kubrick made his own fucking movie, and there was no beef in between. I believe part of the interesting part of that conversation, if I recall some of the stuff around it, was that
if you look at footage, like if you look at early like space footage from let's look at the moon.
Star Trek?
No, we're talking about the moon landing. Let's show the moon landing. I think you might be interested in this, Freddy, because
okay, there's a question, Freddy. What about the space station? No space station?
That's possible because they do launch. It could be along the same lines of like when they launch satellites and whatnot.
Okay. Well, technically speaking, the only missions
The other thing that I was gonna say was like that. That's why I think that they do keep a lot of stuff from us, because why do you think the government, once you become president and after you leave office, whether you served 1 term or 2 terms, like you keep Secret Service on you for the rest of your life? And it makes you think like they just want to make sure that you don't.
I mean, most definitely, dude. You want to ensure your secrets.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's really like something like that. I mean, everybody knows that everybody knows that there's big, hardcore secrets that the government is holding.
Yeah, but we don't know what those secrets are.
No, we don't. But as back in the 50s, back in the 30s, everybody was naive to like all this information, Yeah. If you would have told someone when this video came out about the moon landing that
there was aliens and shit,
it's fake.
Let's put it like this, man. People freaked out when Sputnik, went up.
Yeah, they couldn't handle. People can't handle the truth, dude, sometimes,
But Sputnik was a, relatively tiny little thing, man. Fucking, even if it had come crashing back to Earth, it would have burned up on re-entry, and there barely would have been any evidence of the damn thing. If you took those same people that freaked out over that and showed them the night sky to like right now, with just these fucking arrays of satellites just spreading across the heavens, it'd scare the shit out of them. Like, they wouldn't, well, first of all, it'd be like, any one of them could have the bomb or something like that. And granted, true. But for example, our own government did the whole Operation Starfish thing where they set off the nuclear warhead in the ionosphere. And it basically fried most countries' I think they fried everybody's satellites. It was some fucked up shit, man. Oh, and also likely led to the expansion of the Van Allen radiation belt. And I think there's even been like a bifurcation or something like that. Maybe that's not the right word, but there's now a secondary radiation belt either within or outside the Van Allen. So, yeah. Even if we wanted to go, we do, technically speaking. But, if we put a real fucking effort into our sole goal as a species is to get the fuck off this planet, we have to deal with more bullshit just trying to get out into space and out of the orbit of our own fucking planet now.
Yeah, a lot of people think that like living.
So, I mean, to quote the Bible, dude, it's gonna be like Moses, man, going out into the desert and roaming the desert for like years, just in a circle until Jesus was like, "Hey," or until God was like, "Hey, all right, you're ready."
Go with the first draft.
Yeah.
So Moses was out there,
and
Jesus showed up, and I think Ezekiel brought the wine.
Yeah. And he was like, "Hey, man, I should make bread someday. This bread idea is gonna go a long way."
And then Enoch showed up and was like, "Dude, it's aliens!" And
yeah.
by the way, if you've never come across the book of Enoch, just do yourself a favor.
Have you ever read what's it called? The Book of Biff or Biff?
The dude from Back in the Future.
No, Biff. There's this guy, I forgot his name. He writes like very wonky, like very wonky, like spin-off history books. You know, like he wrote this book. I think it's the Prophecy According to Biff, and then like it's basically like Biff is Jesus's childhood best friend, and he tells him about like growing up with Jesus, and he's writing a book. For like this archangel picks him up out of the dead, like wakes him up, revives him. Hey man, you have to write this book. It's like after you write this book, you know you're gonna fucking go back to sleep. And the guy's like, "Nah, dude, like what the fuck? I want to be alive." And like Angel was like, "Yeah, so do I. So just take your time." So he's milking like all the details on like everything that him and Jesus did. And there's like a lot of drug use, prostitution, and like it's like most people call it blasphemous. But it just tells you the story of like what like an idea of what would happen with Jesus if he were to go through like a normal like adolescent like child like adolescent experience, like first time experimenting. And
if either of you know for sure, let me know. But I want to say it's the Gospel of Thomas.
Yeah.
Is that the Apocrypha where he actually talks about Jesus during his adolescent years?
I think so, dude.
It's one of the books that got cut out of the Bible back in 300 AD. But
and that's what a lot of people don't know, man. Like a lot of like this whole religion thing, it's a tool, dude. It's a tool. Like a lot of people think that it's like it's not like they can't separate the spiritualness from like the religious part of it.
Well, this goes back to exactly to what I said, man. There has to be a belief structure, but you also have to be aware of its nature, or it can be a deceptive thing.
Yeah.
Money is not real, but money is very fucking real. Whether you want to believe it or not, there is some force that drives the existence.
I mean, I honestly like.
If you don't want to name it, that's your business.
Yeah.
But
as far as like religion wise or something like that, I think it's all like an archetype of like a story that happened with like that happened for real, or like maybe it's like what that guy from Zeitgeist said. You know, like it was all just like an archetype of the story of the sun and the moon and everything that the first humans could relate to.
Fair enough, but have you considered this little head fuck that some of it may be historical in the sense that these are things that happen?
No, I think so.
But also, take for example when... like
I think that flood did happen.
Well, dude, dig something like this, man. When Katrina happened, you had the fucking Westboro Baptists going, it's because of the gays. And it's like, what? Yeah. We had a fucking hurricane because of the gays?
Gay people, yeah.
But but here's the thing. Let's say...
all their butt stuff is affecting the environment.
Right, but say those people lived right next door to New Orleans back in the fucking bumfuck BC, and, nobody was around to go, hey, you're an asshole, and also tropical storms turn into hurricanes, all because of, pressure differences. What I'm saying is, if they're New Orleans would have drowned, they'd have been the survivors, and if they'd have convinced enough people that, hey...
I think there's a bit of an exaggeration there, too. Like, okay, the whole world, like, flooded. Okay, I got you. But you were really able to, like, save all these animals. You know? How the fuck did you do it with just this nigga's family, dude? Like, it's just...
Well, dig on this, man. There's that whole theory that's coming up around the...
No. I follow you. I just don't see how hard it is to believe. Like that part.
But it's a lot of animals, dude. Think about the tigers. Think about all that stuff. You have to keep the hostility down in that environment.
Hey, look.
Like, it's just
the only person that told Noah that he was the only person left was God. Yeah. And as clearly represented in the Old Testament, God doesn't always tell everybody everything. You know what I'm saying? So what leads you to believe that even if the story played out exactly as it happened?
This is like a perfect way of like just learning about your government, dude. Sometimes your government doesn't tell you about everything. All in all, I think it's just like one sick joke, So just why take any of it too serious?
Well, okay, why does it have to be a sick joke? Don't get me wrong, I am a proponent of the cosmic joke, but
sometimes, to make sense of it all, to like actually see that, hey, sometimes like bad stuff has to happen for a good reason, but that bad stuff is so shitty, that's a lot to swallow, man. That's like, it's just not like there's a reason why they lie. And it's not like it's not easy stuff to explain. Most people think it's like,
well, okay, consider this for a second, and I am not in any way ascribing to predeterminism. Granted, there is a bit of causality. I mean, I've heard some arguments against causality, but causality seems to be the overall mean state of existence, in the sense that one thing happens and the next thing will happen in line. If you tried to personify or say like anthropomorphize the elements of an atom, like if you were a proton, I was a neutron, and Freddy over here is an electron, and we had to play the intricate dance that goes on at the the atomic level, or even the molecular level, man, the bonding and the fucking splitting and the degradation and reforming and all that shit, the oxidization.
Yeah.
If you played that out as a drama, that shit is Shakespearean. And the individuals that would be experiencing that whole sequence of events would likely have to, there would be motivation and all of this and yada, yada. But yeah, it's going to happen regardless. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And on some sense, we are those elements playing it out.
Yeah.
But we're playing a long dance, and the dance is way more fucking complicated because we're variable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We don't just represent one number in one column. We are almost an infinite number of.
I think. Yeah. Yes, dude. Like, and it's crazy because if you believe in multiple dimensions and all that stuff, I mean, I think there's different copycats of this universe, which makes you, in fact, like maybe 1 trillion, 1 billion, like little entities. And all these like decisions and thoughts you've had in your head about stuff that you could do or stuff that you wanted to do at one point in some alternate reality out there. You actually did that. So it's like you living out.
This is part of the reason as to why I don't believe that.
Yeah.
Because then that also means
that
today, July 30th, 2019.
Yeah.
Like already happened, like just for the sake of the example.
Yeah.
I don't mean this literally, but for the sake of the example, today.
How does that mean it already happened?
Hold on, let me explain. It already happened like a week ago.
Yeah.
And then it also means.
It doesn't mean that though.
It also means.
Wait, hold on. Listen to what you're saying.
No. I am listening. And it also means that July 30th, 2019 will happen again, like at some point in the future. What I'm saying is, what that's implying, that's also implying that there is copies of the exact same day. And I don't mean the day. I mean the date. Yeah. But everything that happened to the team in that day has already happened, and then will happen again in the future.
I think that's possible with different variations depending on everybody else's trajectory within that dimension.
No, I don't think, because then there would be again. This is where my mind goes. Then technically, we wouldn't have free will.
Okay, what are you trying to get across by disproving this theory, though? I mean, it's just
what
a theory.
you're saying.
It's just a theory, though. You know
what you're saying
What do you
about
mean?
what you said earlier. You said that there's copies of, what did you say?
Copies of different universes.
Yeah,
Or all these different
and
universes, like copies of each other.
yeah, and then there's copies of us technically.
Yeah, but that's just what I think.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And all I said was
I still think the way I'm just gonna let you know that did not deter my thought.
no, and that's fine. But I'm telling you why I don't see that.
What do you think? What do you make of all of it?
I think that everything is. I think it's very simple.
And don't be vague in saying, "Oh, it's all for one big thing." What is that big thing? What like a lot of I
And hold on, I'm gonna jump in there preemptively on that one because any answer you come up to as to the purpose is going to be just something somebody else told you. I don't care
for sure. There's no original thought on this.
No. You don't understand what I'm saying. There is no evidence to base that assumption on. The only way to base an assumption, the only way to
even think
stand firmly on any assumption on the grander goal would be to assume that at least half of human knowledge about what is not on the planet physically is bullshit.
I guess at this point, like, I mean, it's just like, hey, man, which lie do you believe? Like,
that's a fair point.
Yeah.
Sorry, Freddy. I jumped in there just to say, he's trying to hold your feet to the fire on, like, tell me what he wants, and it's like, no,
and not to diminish any like thought of like belief or faith or anything like that. It's just.
But as far as the multiverse thing,
what helps you? Yeah, what helps you? What pulls your thoughts together and all this? Like, where do you stand on all?
I just think that everything. And I really mean everything as far as humans, life, animals, plants, species, and whatnot. Like, I really do believe that everything is different and unique. I don't believe in copies. I also do believe that there is other life that is very different from us. I also do believe that there's other universes. But those other universes out there, wherever they are not like us in any. I mean, they may be similar, but they're not exactly like us. I believe that we are not the only form of life in the universe. Like, you're telling me that there's all these other galaxies and planets and shit like that, and we're the only ones here. Yeah, I really don't think we're that special. Like, as far as that goes.
Yeah.
So but anyway, my main point to that whole rant, it was that I do believe that everything, in a sense, aside from the similarity to something else, I do believe that everything is original. Like, for example,
I don't think that's. I mean, sorry.
Like, for example, if you take a lion, a male lion, and you get another male lion, and you put them side by side, and hypothetically speaking, you dissect them in and out, not literally because you're going to kill them, but hypothetically speaking, these two lions alone, they're going to be different.
I think they're going to be pretty much the same, though. Like, if you
similar, they're going to be similar, but they're not going to be the same.
But like the organ structure, the spinal column, all that stuff, all those traits that make a lion, like the genetic coding is going to be there.
Yeah, agree.
So,
but they're I don't know what correct word to use. Like, I don't want to say spirit, because spirit is too vague.
And that's why I just because I believe in that copy thing, it doesn't mean that there's no individuality, because in some alternate universe, you chose like to do something that made
alternate
you different.
Alternate in what, though? I need to know what you mean by alternate.
Like a copy of this universe.
Okay.
Maybe like a channel through a black hole, or
think about this for a second. Yeah. What you're assuming when he says multiple universes, that they're happening like in the same space in some sense, that like there is a copy of us somewhere else, where the current multi-dimensional multi-universe theory is that on a higher dimension, we are only one projection of this event happening. So it's on another picture, like, you know, the Matrix, when he walks into the architect's room and it's just covered in the TV screens.
Kind of like that, bro.
Yeah. So
no, I get that.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying, and that's fine. Like, what I'm saying is,
but you're assuming
I don't believe that what you just said, like that example. I
don't necessarily believe that.
No. But what I'm saying, the example, the example that you put is perfect. What I'm saying is that I don't believe that what you just said is still the exact same thing as this what we're living in now. For example, like what I'm saying is also just an example. Like, but again, my main point and premise to all of this is I strongly don't believe that there is two things that are exactly alike.
Not exactly alike. Like,
that's what you said when you said that there's carbon copies of. That's what you said.
When I'm like copies,
not
in the
carbon
sense,
copies, but
carbon, like copies in the sense that it was like the lions, just your same genetic code. Mm-hmm. You know.
Well, let me throw something to you, man. You familiar with like the idea of? I'm going to get this wrong because I'm not a music major, but harmonic resonance and the scale.
Yeah.
There's even a theory, a model that was used to figure out the distance between the planets here in the solar system that was based on the scale, in the sense that two chords being played at the same time will at various points harmonize.
Yeah.
And that is kind of mapped out in a mathematical sense.
Yeah.
But between those two notes, there's dissonance.
But then
that's what actually helps the resonance within with like the harmonization within the notes.
Okay.
It's like a circle, you know. Like
okay. I never got into that.
Yeah.
Somebody was trying to show me that whole the chord circle. That's advanced math for me, man. I fuck around with algebra, calculus.
Like, another thing that really throw me through a loop, and I was listening to Neil deGrasse Tyson explain this.
Yeah.
And he did explain this in very like down to earth, stupid terms, and I still didn't get it. Is what really throw me off is time, just regular old time without a clock, and light. Like, for example, this is what he said, that don't question me a lot on it, because I didn't understand not even, I think, 10% of it. He was trying to explain that the time, literally, the time right now is not the time right now. He says that humans live, I don't remember how much time behind. Like, by the time by the time gets to us for us to live, like, it has already been there. And then he compared and contrasted that to light. The light that you see outside, that's the only thing that I do remember. I think I did understand. I might be butchering it. But the light, like, for example, the light that you see outside is like from, I think he said, like 8 minutes ago. So that light happened 8 minutes ago. Because the reason that he came up on that is because somebody asked him, and it came from a very simple question. They asked him that why and how time exists. Like, who's the one that said, like, this is time, this is where we're going to start it from. So that's when he went into that whole explanation. So my only point with that, I wasn't trying to get you to understand that, because I don't understand it either. But my thing is, like, those are the other two things that I can't explain to myself, like, even logically or theoretically, like, as into what they are, how they are, why they exist. All I know is that we use them, and we've been accustomed to using them. So it goes back to what you were saying earlier, which also throws me off with this aspect of it. Like,
Yeah.
is time different somewhere else? And I'm gonna throw in another element that's gonna confuse you more, because then this is where my mind went.
Well, how do you think time works?
I just explained it to you. Whatever I explained to you,
like scientifically.
That's what
like
I just
how
said.
how do you think? Not like how do you gauge it?
No, well, that's what I'm telling you.
No.
That's what I'm expecting. No, I know what you're asking. What I'm saying is, the only thing that I have time to gauge on, other than a clock, like if without a clock,
Yeah.
is what this dude said. Outside of that,
Yeah.
I don't know. And the reason that I don't know is because I had never really thought of it.
Yeah.
Without a clock. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the other thing that throws me for a loop.
Yeah.
Is,
I think he was talking, like, I think it's that Joe Rogan conversation that he had.
No. He was talking about this to another scientist.
Well, when people like take time, I mean, at least from what I know, like it's from the velocity or from the how fast you're moving in the world.
Yeah.
You know?
But that's what he was saying.
Yeah.
Going back to those 8 minutes and the light, he was trying to explain,
because the light casts shadows on the earth. And so the way we gauge time is how quickly these shadows grow, where these shadows are heading. And like that's just basically on the one true source of light that we have is just the sun.
Okay. So he was saying when he was trying to explain that, he was trying to explain how that's not entirely true.
Oh, really?
And yeah, that's exactly. And the way he was explaining it like completely blew my mind, because he came from like a whole completely different aspect. So then the other person, and keep in mind, the other person was also a very intellectual person. He was talking to another scientist, but I don't remember what kind of scientist he was. So he's like, so who and what are we supposed to believe, right? So then again, don't ask me how, because I don't remember.
Believe about time?
Yeah, because this whole time conversation tied into time, like Leo said, the sun, light, and it tied into that's where I was going. It tied all the way into his belief into what black holes are.
Yeah.
The reason I was bringing it up was going back to my original point, which is what you were saying earlier.
The moon landing was fake. No, I'm sorry.
Like if there was like if there was another space, and I don't mean literally another space, I mean like another dimension, if we can say it like that. Like my only wonders, because of everything that I just told you, is I wonder if time and light is different, because of the fact that, like Tyson said, he said that only like if those two things were off, if time and light were off and they were different, everything would be different. So it goes back to, again, what I was saying earlier, that even in some other space, in another dimension, things would still be different. That's what I was trying to tie it back to.
I mean, I think I don't.
But I'm butchering the shit out of the explanation.
I have no solid like proof. Hey man, this is what it's like
in
other dimensions or whatever.
He didn't either. So.
But they're like the fact that there's like a million thoughts going on in your head at any given point, you know, at any given moment. And to say that like people don't like maybe communicate in thought, or people don't pass subliminal things through thought, you know, like if you look at like the stuff you remember, the stuff that actually happened, like you're maybe remembering something that already did happen, like what you are living in right now, you know. So your memory and your escape of memory might be like a little chunk of what actually really did happen. Someone else might have another little chunk, you know. But in reality, I think there's more stuff that we're just like absent to, that would kind of like explain all this to us.
Fair enough.
Which is what I said earlier.
I think you guys are getting
that he was explaining.
Well, hold on.
No, I don't
think both of you guys are missing the point about, say, the fact that we experience existence on a delay has to do with our own processing speed.
Yeah.
Like, all right, think about like when
He didn't mention any of that, but go ahead. Like our processing speed within ourselves? Is that what you
Yeah, but I'm saying the whole fact that we're 8 minutes away from the sun and the light that's produced, and actually the light that's produced on the sun takes about
a couple years
to travel to the
10
surface.
10 years.
And then, so there's that whole thing. So by the time the light gets to us, yes, it has, there's a delay speed on that.
Yeah.
But also there is a delay. It's minuscule, or we've learned to filter it out in some sense, but there is a delay speed from any sense of organ of yours detecting an input or stimulation, and your brain, one, receiving that message, and two, being able to process it and basically present it to you as reality as it's happening.
And see there you fucked me up even more because
why?
Because he didn't say any of that.
Because, I mean, granted, he's a astrophysicist, so I mean, he's kind of more talking about the idea that even as we observe the universe.
But don't you think if he was trying to present a point like the one I was telling you?
No, I'm not talking about exactly what Tyson's saying. I'm saying though, man, like if you're taking into consideration any of that, you have to first take into consideration our own processing delay. Our own limitation on how fast and at what, let's say, rate of focus we can experience anything.
Oh, and he was also saying that our movements.
Yeah.
He explained that too, which was fucking weird. And I'm telling you, it was so weird that it was scary the way he was explaining. Like he said that our movements also have
can I tell you something, dude?
Latency.
I think Neil deGrasse Tyson is like maybe 50% full of shit and 50% like factual. I think all the stuff that he spews is just theories that he believes in, but I think even he himself doesn't have all of this figured out,
Oh, no, nobody does, bro.
Yeah.
I think he's a useful personality, man. He retains a lot of information that, for example, one of the reasons I push back against the whole idea that the entire Apollo program, or at least the moon leg of the Apollo program, was faked was that there were...
so you're saying that we did land?
No, I'm not saying we did land, motherfucker. Don't put words in my mouth.
I
said it was very possible that we went up, circled the moon, and came.
Why would you do that without landing? I mean,
as a matter of fact, we know that the return module circled the moon because what's his name, fucking the third asshole, was in.
Glenn Johnson.
Wait, it was Armstrong, fucking Aldrin, and Johnson.
Was it? I think it was Glenn Johnson.
Okay,
the one that went back when he was 88 years old to do it again.
No. He was part of the Gemini program.
Yeah.
Or he may have been in the Apollo program. I'm not sure, actually.
You want to touch on the Gemini program, dude? That's pretty cool.
Dude,
I think that's pretty cool.
Here's the thing. Whatever you believe about the goals of the Apollo program, the guys that were running those Gemini and Mercury programs were fucking certifiable, like, one, badasses, two, possibly fucking insane, and three, definitely rare breed.
Fuck yeah, bro. Imagine just saying, hey, bro, you know what? I'm going to check out for like 30 years.
I'll tell you another, guys. The test pilot that died testing the Virgin Galactic Spaceship 1. Or maybe, no, Spaceship 2. I'm sorry. Like that guy, dude, man. If you look up the test footage for Spaceship 1, like he was... Basically, the concept behind that ship was that it was going to have a tail fin that would come out as it re-entered the atmosphere and would basically slow it down. Rather than having to have all the heat tiles and protection like the shuttle did coming back in, it was going to kind of do a badminton, I guess, where it has the ball and then the feathers.
Yeah.
So it, disperses its area of drag and is able to slow down. And then when it re-enters fully, the fin goes back down into a wing position and it's able to land like an airplane.
Yeah.
So this would have been a true orbit to air flight vehicle, right? So, dude, the footage behind those first tests for Spaceship One are fucking amazing. I can't remember the guy that designed that shit, but he's way out there, man. Does some crazy ass aircraft. There's one where you drive all the way from like the side of the plane. It's fucking weird as shit.
That sounds pretty gnarly.
My point being is, man, they're insane people, beautifully insane people, like the kind of people that can, like some Stephen Hawking or fucking, I'm trying to remember the other motherfucker, Einstein on one level, man, because he wasn't like necessarily good at banging out the minutia, but he was great at the overall, like,
he was good at abstract theories, man.
There you go, man.
Yeah.
And nothing wrong with that on some level, but like he was able to hit that right explanation that allowed a lot of other people to correct in a sense and sharpen their own theories.
Yeah. Is there a lot of stuff that?
Sorry, but we were going somewhere with this. The amount of material that they had to purchase and move for the Apollo launches was, you listen again, going back to that Rogan podcast, the amount of forgery and redirection that would have had to take place for all that material to disappear and then reappear, or, I mean, the idea that they would launch that much material into orbit without, for no reason at all, would be waste on a scale unimaginable. I mean, at that point, you might as well believe that we went to the moon and we also have a base on Mars at this point. And they just don't want to tell us because the Venusians are assholes.
All I was saying was, do I believe that it happened back in 61 or 64 or whenever the fuck it was?
69.
69. No. Do I believe that if they really wanted to do it now, they could? Hell yeah. Now they could do a lot of shit. Which was going to bring me to my next point. From like and I know all of us in here are too stupid to probably answer this, but I just want to know where your mind wanders to when I ask you this. Like from then till now in 2019, from the little bit of information that you know on technology and on weaponry or whatever you want to call it, what do you think that the government or whatever you want to call it, again, if you don't want to title it, can do now that we don't know about yet? What do you think that maybe 30 years ago that you can think of now that you're like, I'm pretty sure they can do that now, but we don't know about it yet, but I'm pretty sure it could be done?
I have like no thoughts on. I don't know.
I would be very disappointed at this point if at least one of the major governments wasn't already working or using a nuclear reactor that you could fit into a septic tank. And so they would basically be able to show up anywhere they wanted to on the globe and set up an off-the-grid, like fully powered workstation of any type, whether it be a military installation or an intel or a research, whatever it be.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the kind of shit that, one, I almost want to believe that they have already, because by the time that they get to the next thing and make that fucking available, we need that thing, man. Yeah. Like, I was just looking at the the modular nuclear reactors the other day, and there's another name for it. I'm losing.
You know what? I actually do think that they're fucking with. I think they're fucking with Tesla coils, dude. I think there's a lot of shit that the government is doing with like Tesla technology.
But at what aspect? Because Tesla claimed a lot of shit.
Transmitting energy wirelessly, like just through waves. Okay. And there's certain stuff that maybe I shouldn't talk about here, because like I don't know if it'll put me in any problems, but we'll talk about afterwards. Where like
even if you're not on the mic, they can still hear you, right?
But still, it's not on. I mean, at least not like sloppy.
Okay.
You know, like, but yeah, there's stuff out there. There's weaponry too that people have pushed out. Like there's even like there's what's it called? There's helicopters that'll black you out, black out the power for like a city for let's say like for about an hour. They'll like maintain power per hour power outages.
You know what I really think
wave
that
technology.
they're fucking with now.
What?
I really do think that they have figured out a way or experimenting. At least it's the experimenting part. Yeah. Two things, and I'll go from light to heaviest as far as like what I'm about to say. Humans flying. Just regular ass humans flying. And I'll tell you why I came up with that.
Wait, we talking jetpacks or wings?
No, that's what I was about to say. I'm not talking about like a jetpack, because I mean...
Are you talking about the government is funding the X-Men?
No, man.
Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, like I think that they haven't figured out a way to make a human fly.
Like some jets and shit. The little no.
No. He I think he means like physically fly.
Yeah.
Superman.
Yeah.
Superman.
Like
Superman.
Something like that.
Ubermensch.
I'm not saying you're gonna get a naked person and toss them up and they're gonna fly.
You leave the Nietzsche out of this, motherfucker.
But I do think that they that there is a way that a human being can fly.
I'll give you that.
Because they can, because if there's a flying car, bro, and it's very fucking simple.
It's different, dude. We're not machinery like that, though.
Really, that's gonna stop you from thinking that a human can't fly? Because we're not machinery.
Without any additives and just like
that's what I just said.
Like some Goku level.
Again. That's why I said I'm not saying that you can get a naked human being and throw him up and he's gonna start flying. Yeah. What I'm saying is that there is some shit other than like a plane and shit like that you put on a human being or on a monkey, if you want to put it that way, and you can make them fly.
I know.
Wait, like a cream or a suit?
No,
what are we talking about?
They actually
maybe a suit.
They actually do, bro. They have suits that NASA that they equip the astronauts with. That it like has little like not jet propulsion, but it gives them little boosts to kind of shift them in directions.
No, but I mean fly, like sustain.
Right. Yeah. But I'm saying if they have that,
and what you're talking about is basically like a little booster seat that they strap into and has directional jets on.
Yeah, but I'm saying if they have that, they've already been fucking with that. I mean, I could see how Freddy has a point.
Yeah,
maybe they do have like a bio suit that someone puts on.
Yeah,
and just like,
well, dude,
and you know how they would.
Well, hold on. I don't know how the fuck you're expecting somebody to get off the ground without the jetpack. I think the jetpack is going to be.
I was about to say
but. Here's the thing.
But that's what I was saying. I think it's like a jet propulsion. It's got to be nothing like.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
But guys,
so you can say what you're gonna say.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can take this and run with it too. Yeah. How does a magnet work?
Fuck off.
Real quick. How does a magnet work? No, I have a point.
We're not magnets, bro.
No.
I see where you're going.
Listen,
we are batteries, but we're not magnets.
How does a magnet work?
It's energy. That's it's.
But you need another magnet, right?
Yeah.
Technically.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is what I'm saying, and this is just a theory or whatever.
Look,
I'm saying like something like a magnet that does not require another magnet.
You're talking about reversing gravity.
Kind of.
Because you know what the Earth's core is?
Hot?
No, it's a big magnet, dude.
It's a ball of iron that's spinning just slightly slower than the rest of the planet.
Exactly.
No, I'm sorry, slightly faster than the rest of the planet.
But it's a big magnet, bro.
Hold on,
if the Earth's core stopped moving, all magnetic
wouldn't
pull...
just an example.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you be able to take like a big magnet, not a huge one, but maybe the size of like a human body? And again, I do not know the technicalities of this, but you take this magnet, you put it on this body, you face it down again for the sake of the example, and this magnet is grabbing something from the ground, like literally from the ground outside, and it's I don't know the word, gravitating, levitating.
Well, I will say this: more and more, you come across stuff that questions the very nature of what gravity is right now. Like, don't get me wrong; it's been kind of nebulous for the past 100 years or so. But
damn, I didn't think y'all were gonna go down the rabbit hole with this.
What I'm saying that so I can completely dismiss your foolishness. What I'm saying is very possible that within, say, however length of time you want to give, next 10, 50, 100 years, that they very much, whoever is working with this kind of shit, whether it be theories right now or whether they have working prototypes, somebody is probably going to come out with something that fucks with gravity. I think probably within at least the next 500 years. But what I'm saying is, if you look into those squirrel suits, you know what I'm saying? The wing suits.
Oh, yeah.
They've gotten those things almost down to the point, and people have been fucking with them long enough that they're almost to the point where they could just land.
Deadliest sport ever, dude.
But all right, they've already done the thing where the guy.
Sustain, you see what I'm saying?
What do you mean?
They can stay up for a long fucking time.
No, but eventually it's like a parachute.
But they're getting to the point where it's almost like a hang glider, man.
Yeah,
it's not there yet.
They're making their body into a plane.
That's what I was getting
at. That's what they're doing with those squirrel suits.
But what I'm saying is, they're going to get to the point real soon here where I don't know if it's going to be something they're holding, some sort of arm piece, but they're going to be able to halt their flight to the point where they can land on the ground.
Oh, shit, yeah.
I don't know if maybe they got to wear rollerblades so they can I don't know how that's going to work.
I don't know, yeah.
The other thing that I was going to say, and I thought this one was the one that was going to drive y'all crazy, but I think they're also fucking with mind control.
In what fashion?
Which way you can think of.
How do you
like mind manipulation?
Like, okay, people manipulate people all the time.
No. But literally, like, fucking.
Like, I'm not saying a word to you, and like I'm gonna get you to do stuff that I want.
Social programming, I think, is what that's called, or social hacking.
Yeah, I mean, because they do have stuff in that, dude. Like a part of espionage, I think it's just mind hacking.
What do you mean?
Like a part of being a spy. If you don't believe that U.S. has spies, I mean, I think those are just like mind hackers.
But that's different because they use computers and shit.
Even like a form of like any form of like I would say like special forces. Soldier is like a mind hacker, bro. I think.
Mm.
So I could see your point where you're like, yeah, but I don't know, like if you mean like telepathically, like on some ESP level,
but not entirely.
Well, yeah. Even the possibility of remotely, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, because I do think that there's certain waves, like having done like a lot of mushrooms, you see like these waves and these forces that like fucking. That explains stuff, dude. Like you feel a certain way, and I could see your aura and color.
You're purple,
and you can hear the purple.
Yeah, dude. No, and not in that way, dude. But you could hear like you're sad. Why are you sad? And you almost become more intuitive, and you stop focusing so much on all this other stuff that doesn't matter. So all your attention is on like just what's happening now, dude. I don't know. It's a trip, bro. But you could feel waves and stuff like that. You could feel energy. So I think it could be possible. Because you could I could be in a bad mood, and for some reason, someone across the room is gonna sense it. You know, if someone pays attention or.
Well, think about this, man. If your hearing is good enough, I know mine's blown from years of too much headphone usage, but if your hearing was good enough, you could literally listen into a person's breathing pattern from across the room. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude.
My wife had that power. Why are you breathing so hard? I was like, what the fuck?
You were just a bloated, stuffy bastard. That's.
She would tell me that all the time, dude. Yeah. She would just turn around and be like, I can hear you breathing.
Oh, she already hated you at that point.
Dude, she was letting it be known, like, hey, I want you to stop breathing. Yeah.
That's some subconscious shit.
Yeah.
or maybe not so subconscious.
Subliminally, she was telling
maybe
him,
she
kill
read
you.
the same books that Leo read. She was like, let me see if I can influence this motherfucker. One of these nights he's just gonna stop breathing.
No, but I don't think that's not possible. I think that maybe the government is tapping in on stuff like. Have you guys seen that movie, The Men Who Stare at Goats?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember listening
It's a
to
great
the
movie,
with
bro.
George Clooney.
Yeah.
I remember
great
listening to
movie.
the interviews with Ron Johnson when he was talking about that shit.
Yeah.
He's done some great Rogan interviews as well as the fuck.
You reminded me of that Chappelle bit where he said that Trump was trying to bring back coal.
Yeah.
Like coal, I don't even know what coal is used for. If you want to give me something useful, find me some truffles, motherfucker. Yeah, man. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, but look, whether or not it was, you got to remember during the Cold War, both the U.S. government and the Soviet Union were doing shit like kind of on purpose to
Fuck with each other.
Yeah. Like the Soviets had.
I think even they even started like little wars for each other to fight.
Yeah, most definitely.
Like, I think they were funding a lot of like of their allies to kind of like give our allies a bad time,
Dude, the entire fucking Vietnam War was us telling.
Key example, bro.
We
I
will
think
not have Soviet-backed troops.
Yeah.
In this area.
I think even like what's it called?
Fuck that one up big time.
The Cuban Missile Crisis might have been influenced by something like that. I
think
think also
it was directly influenced by that. They put missiles in Cuba.
Yeah. I think also the Gulf War, the first Gulf War. I think we already like had a reputation with the Middle East and Saddam and all that stuff, but I think the fact that maybe there was some sort of like Russian backing with Saddam Hussein.
Consider this, man. We backed a lot of people during the Cold War specifically to have a kind of a shield of brutality, if you will, or assured brutality.
Yeah.
If the Soviet-backed states ever tried to go against our allied states and yada yada. Yeah. And then there was a lot of playing both sides in the middle.
Yeah.
So once the Soviet Union was in at least the large part dismantled, I think we had to clean up a lot of that shit just so we could get back in there and get back to business. I'm throwing up air quotes. Y'all can't see that in the audio, but to, the great work, if you will, like we will fucking, capitalize, democratize, and all the other ties is, I lost track there for a second, but my point being is, you can't leave a guy like Saddam kind of sitting around, but I think the way we went about it was goddamn foolish. You don't allow a motherfucker to go to war.
You mean we shouldn't have? They shouldn't have hung him.
Oh, I think the Iraqis should have hung his ass most definitely. But the Iraqis, I mean, we went in and handed him all the shit and went, okay, you guys play nice now, and then they hung him. But I'm saying if and granted, not even.
Well, if you look at the countries,
well, dude, Gaddafi was a great like kind of sequel to that in the sense that. What we did there was back a third party to go in.
That dude was horrible, dude.
Gaddafi, not as bad as you might think. Don't get me wrong.
All I need to know is he used to rape 9-year-olds. So
what? Gaddafi?
Yeah.
Look that up, man.
Yeah.
Gaddafi rapes 9-year-olds.
He used to go into like the middle schools and shit, and just like handpick like a little girl or whatever.
I never heard any rape allegations against Gaddafi. Most of the stuff I heard was basically him backing terrorist groups.
I mean, maybe I could see him raping a woman.
He would take like little girls from
what was his first name? Mabtahad or what?
Muammar.
Yeah, Muammar Gaddafi.
I don't know how to spell it.
It's like that.
Yeah, he used to go into middle schools and like get. Damn, that was an ugly motherfucker. I can see why he would rape.
Okay, first of all, what's this source?
15-year-old.
15.
He raped 15-year-olds, not 9-year-olds.
Well, hold on. Don't equivocate here, man. Fucking what are we?
The horror stated that the lightest of touches as the 15-year-old girl held out the banquet.
No. Like, this is some fucking
See,
fluff
look, what
piece.
is
Get
it?
down to the fucking info.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, who's telling this story? Where is this?
A terrified girl. Red chair. Yeah, terrified girl taking undress. Yeah, let's get back up here.
What?
I think the 50. It was.
This is a narrative, man. There's no information here.
There's no facts.
Yeah, I want to know where this report came from. Like, I'm not saying it's not possible, man. I'm just saying,
I
like,
saw it in a documentary. I just don't remember what documentary it was.
I don't know how official the Harrods thing is. Let me see if I could do an academic search.
well, I guess a fucking. It would have to be a journalistic search, man. I doubt any court in Libya would have any record of that.
Yeah.
Investigation.
It says that he used to have sex with them, and then like some would get like pregnant, and he would force like abortions.
Where did you read this?
It was a documentary, I believe I saw.
Was it on what's it called?
I want to say it was Netflix.
It was on Snopes.
It's a what?
All right. So anyway,
Yeah.
but this is a perfect example of like reality tunnel in a sense, man. Like, there are very differing opinions about Gaddafi as a figure. You know what I mean? Either he was the murderous, warlord rapist, or he was somehow a liberating figure for North African, independence and yada yada. Yeah, I mean, he certainly did spend a shitload of cash back in organizations that, killed a lot of fucking reasonably innocent people.
Dude, what's it called? Is there like any evident truths that you guys strongly believe in that are like clearly like present in the world?
Oh, I was waiting for the rest of the statement. What do you mean?
That's it. Is there anything that you believe is like 100% true? That is, there's no matter.
Yeah, there's plenty.
Like what?
Countries kill for profit.
I mean, yeah, they
Well,
do. But like anything, like I was talking more in like less government, more, philosophical. Like
I need more.
I think there are a lot of assumptions that you can probably get through life banking on.
Yeah.
Truth?
Yeah.
No.
There's many
I
truths.
too have done much mushrooms, and specifically as far as psychedelics go, salvia scared the living shit out of me to the point where I am quite willing to believe that any moment the director will yell cut, these walls will fold back, and the cameraman will walk away to go have a smoke break. I have no assurance in the truth of any of this.
Yeah.
I've been running pretty good now for about 34 years, and granted that could all be a fucking implanted memory, but for about 34 years, as far as I can recall, everything has, some of these assumptions have been all right. Up and down is due to gravity. The body needs oxygen and food. The countries will kill for profit.
Yeah.
And various other assumptions. Now, granted, there's
gas is expensive.
There's also the corollaries. Many countries will spend outrageous amount of monies to save a infinitesimally small number of lives.
When billionaires complain about gas prices, bro, it's expensive. I was reading an article on Business Insider on exactly that.
I don't think that's a natural truth though, because that's
I don't
just
know what you're.
that's just relative to like the time. Right now, gas is expensive. in the future, who's to say that gas is going to be expensive? In the past, gas wasn't expensive. It's not a stable, steady truth.
According to the wage, it was expensive.
No, but I'm saying that's not. It's been more expensive. I don't think. I don't know.
Then I'm not sure I'm understanding your question.
I don't think you are. Yeah.
Other than country.
Do all hearts beat at the same rate?
Fuck no. Your own heart doesn't beat at the same rate.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, if your heart can't change its rhythm at a certain tempo,
take your
speed,
pulse right now.
It'll kill you.
Okay, I know I have a pulse. I don't know how to measure it.
Well, you count to 60, but anyway.
Yeah.
Now go in the bathroom and jerk off.
I'm not gonna go jerk off in the bathroom.
Okay, well then.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Do some jumping jacks.
Dude. Yeah.
I'd say jerk off.
I could have easily just.
As a matter of fact, just wave your arms in the air like you just don't care.
Yeah.
Point being, yes, variable heart rate, very important.
Yeah.
Which is why you have to do which is why they're finding more and more we were talking about this the other day, the intermittent
fasting.
Speed.
I got a tricky question for you.
What?
What are some of the things in life, period, that will happen to every single human being for sure?
Oh, you're gonna get old and die?
No.
Yeah.
Well,
I know a lot of people that
too.
died young.
Died young, but those are inevitable truths. If you do manage to survive it all, you're gonna get old.
The craziest thing
you're gonna die.
You know the craziest things about both your answers?
What?
That you're both right.
Yes, that is existence.
Yeah.
That's what. But again, those are the first two things I thought of.
Yeah.
But outside of those two, can you think of anything else?
Anything else?
Anything else that will happen to every other human being?
That will happen to every other human being.
You will shit.
Yeah, dude. I would say even a baby in the womb shits, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know many other ones.
See?
I think at any moment you will have thought.
Wait, what?
I don't think you'll be without thought.
Yeah, well, only if you die.
Well, yeah, but then at that point, are you a human? Or are you
Yeah, you don't stop being a human if you're dead, dumbass.
What makes you a human?
Assumption of membership in the species.
Do you think your membership card is your soul? You think once your soul leaves, you're revoked, you're not a human anymore? Your body's just a body?
No, I think you're all... That's a good one.
Yeah.
I think you'll always be a human. But there is people that can argue that.
No, I think it's...
people that think that not everybody is a human, literally. There's people, I think it's... And I may be wrong, I don't want to offend anybody, but I think it's the Native Americans that think that there's people that have the spirit of an animal or some shit. No? Am I wrong?
I don't know, bro.
I think it's... and I'm sorry if it's not them.
I want to try eating peyote so I could get on their level.
I don't know if I said this to you before, man, but the only drug I've ever seen somebody have a full-blown, trip out on, multiple day, nobody could fucking talk to them trip was peyote.
Oh, for real?
I'm going to tell you this quick, funny-ass story. I was drunk, right?
Yeah.
I wasn't drunk. I was tipsy.
Yeah.
I walk in the room, and there was a couch like this, but there was no separation. It was a straight couch, like the big one over there. So I walk in, and my friend was already sitting on the couch, and he was like this, right? So you can already tell that he was tripping out on something. So I'm there, and I get there, and I'm tipsy, and I'm talking to him. I'm in a good mood. I was like, "Hey man, how you doing?" So on. We carry on this short conversation. And then he keeps waving me down to tell me kind of leave me alone. So I left him alone because he was on a trip, right? So when I was getting ready to walk away, I asked somebody else, but he was still here, sitting down on the couch. And I was like, "Hey bro, what is he on? Is he really high?" Or he was like, "Dude, he's trying peyote for the first time." And I was like, dude, what the fuck is peyote? And then he explained to me real quick what it was and what it does. So then this was the crazy part. So my friend had tried it for the first time, right? So then my friend, he was cool and everything on his trip. And then he literally got up from the couch and I was here. I was standing here. So he gets up and now he's standing next to me. He turned around, and when he turned around, so now he's facing the couch, he completely flipped the fuck out, like scared, you know. He jumped back and he was like, oh my, but his eyes were about to jump out of his sockets. He was like, oh my god, dude. And I was like, what's going on? And he looked at me and he looked at the couch and he grabbed me, and I'll never forget with the frantic way that he said this. He looked at me and then he said, dude, I'm right there. And he kept pointing at the couch. He's like, bro, I'm sitting down right there. So like he was having an out of body experience. Like he saw. He's like, why am I there and I'm here? Like,
actually, he was having a without soul experience, I think, man. Or without specter.
Have you guys ever experienced that in your sleep?
The out of body experience?
Yeah.
I don't think so. Fuck that.
Dude. I've experienced it a couple times, man. It's like your body is just like weighted down, but you're not, you know? But it's do you think it's like, what's it called? You think it's like travel? Like it's a way of traveling into like actual different places?
Possibly, but there's also an experience, sleep paralysis.
Yeah.
Often comes with.
That's real.
Yeah. I think maybe that's what I have. Like the way I think about it is, I don't think it's real. I think it's like sleep paralysis with like high hallucination, you know, like.
Well, part of the sleep paralysis comes with the sensation of floating over your body. Yeah.
I've experienced, and this was very recently, like a couple of months for the very first time, sleep paralysis. And that was like when it happened to me and when I didn't know what it was. I'm not gonna lie, it was one of the most horrifying things.
It is, dude. Yeah,
the first-hand account anyone ever told me was my buddy thought he was being possessed by a demon.
Yeah, that's how I felt.
Yeah, dude.
And I literally felt the pressure.
It feels like someone's sitting on your chest, dude.
Yeah.
And then there's like some sort of weird thing like just crawling through your body, bro. Like it's just
exactly what he's saying is exactly. You've never gone through that?
And you cannot move.
I've had the mildest type of sleep paralysis where like I kind of woke up and I couldn't move, but then like slowly I was able.
Started to regain it.
Yeah, it was a nuisance. It wasn't like some like, oh my god. It was like there was no anxiety.
And this is when I'm not ashamed to admit it. This is when a tear rolled down my eye.
You think you're gonna die, dude?
Yeah. Well, not only that, but this is when the tear did roll down my eye, because this is when I felt in the middle of me laying down on the bed that it was an actual medical condition. Because you know how I was laying down and my arms were out like this. Right, both of them, and I was going through all of that, and I was fine because I was like, I'm fine, I can still breathe, I feel the pressure, but I'm still good. But I was scared as shit, I'm not gonna lie, because it was the first time going through that.
Right.
But this is what scared me, because I thought it was an actual medical condition. My left arm started to fall asleep, so I immediately kicked into, holy shit, this is a heart attack. And that's when I felt like the tear come down my eye. And I was like, holy fuck, like, is this really a heart attack? So, but then it slowly went away. And I felt such a relief. But yeah.
I don't know, man. It's a scary feeling, dude. And I heard multiple people describe it and like why it happens and stuff like that. I just pulled up this article that talked about like.
Is this a real article though?
Yeah, this is a article by Europe PCM.
PMC.
Oh, there you go. Sorry, my bad.
You dyslexic.
We have nothing but love for our dyslexic brothers here.
I'm dyslexic too.
The main neural structures generating muscle atone anoia. Other phenomenon characteristics are presented in disordered position.
Well, if you're gonna read it, don't mumble through it.
I'm sorry. I want to read it, but then I suck at reading out loud.
All right. Cataplexy and sleep paralysis are pathological disassociated manifestations of the generalized muscle atonia characteristic REM sleep. Cataplexy is triggered by emotional stimuli, probably through activation of the neural structure generating the muscle atonia of REM. This is probably a copyrighted fucking paper we're reading here.
Yeah.
REM
Wait,
sleep.
so you're not supposed to read this out loud?
During long-lasting I don't give a fuck.
I mean, we didn't start at the beginning of
attacks.
the paper.
Oh, but you're technically not supposed to read it out loud?
We're quoting this from Europe PMC.
It's
So
available online.
Yeah.
Narcoleptic humans often experience sleep paralysis and vivid hypnagogic hallucinations in the later sleep state. So in REM, narcoleptics tend to have hallucinations. Okay, cool. Sleep paralysis is caused by the marked disassociation between the level of alertness and muscle atonia that often occurs in SOREM sleep episodes. Frequently, SOREM sleep levels weight episodes in narcoleptic humans and dogs may occur when some of the neural mechanisms producing wakefulness and other NREM sleep that normally inhibit the occurrence of REM sleep are abnormally weak, or when neural mechanisms facilitating the occurrence of REM sleep are hypersensitive or hyperactive, or both. Both abnormalities may contribute to the occurrence of SOREM sleep episodes and sleep paralysis, and also to the emotional triggering of cataplexy. Okay, so yeah, it's a function of basically not coming all the way out of the REM state, or having some sort of.
So it's a mental state.
I think it's like what you said, a medical condition that you're.
Oh, but I thought I was having a heart attack. That's what.
No, but you probably freaked out when you couldn't come back from REM sleep.
Right, but also if you're having a bit of hallucinatory state, you can definitely, if you're tripping or if you're having some sort of hallucinatory state, you could probably convince yourself that you were probably experiencing like the what do you call it, the numbness in your limbs and shit. But I think that has.
But
more
it was
to do
just
with,
on my left arm though. That's why I tripped out.
But like, what's it called? Whenever I have like panic attacks, I notice like numbness on my appendages, like on my leg and on my arm.
Again, this was just my left arm.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like I'll
the
just
other one.
random.
Well, I mean, other from the fact that I couldn't move.
Yeah.
Like nothing else went numb.
I think it's a like a defense mechanism that your body goes through once you freak out. Like your heart starts racing, and you start experiencing like it starts racing, pumping real fast. So it starts like pumping blood.
Also, it starts pumping blood to different places. Like it's not just pumping blood to everywhere. Like certain
it selects which places to pump blood mainly through.
Yeah, and also I've never heard it described, but I would imagine there might be some mechanism where your limbs would receive kind of a lessened blood flow.
Yeah, and they start to like curl in a bit. Like at least for me, that's what happens because of the less blood flow and the numbness after a while. Like it just starts like the muscles start like I guess contracting in.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not sure if that like occurs when most people have panic attacks.
Just picturing you like some sort of Irish boxer.
Yeah, like
I've only had one.
Yeah.
Like legitimate like panic attack.
Because it affects everyone differently.
And,
like, I don't sweat
that's
a lot.
that's what the doctor told me when they took me to the emergency room. Because again, the first time I had a panic attack, I thought I was having a heart attack.
Yeah.
So with me, the first thing that got me was the breathing. I could not breathe for the life of me. And technically, physically, I could breathe. It's just my mind kept telling me that I couldn't breathe. And that's why I got pissed off when I got to the emergency room, because they just sat me down and the nurse literally told me, "You're fine, just breathe." And she walked off. Like, bitch.
Yeah. At least hold my hand.
Yeah.
At least get, one of those little like compressed oxygen tanks or something. You just
That helps, dude. Whenever, even if you're like short of breath, bro, those compressed oxygen tanks are nice.
Dude, we're just like inhaling pure oxygen, bro, is awesome.
right.
Have you ever done that first thing in the morning?
Inhaled oxygen? No, I'm not bougie like that, bro.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Don't ask too many questions, but
Yeah,
I have access to a giant tank of oxygen. That
I believe you, and I kind of
not
know how you got that.
I do not know if it's like any good anymore because it's been sitting around for about 15 years at this point.
Oh, never mind.
You got that aged oxygen, huh?
Started off as oxygen. Who knows what the fuck it is now, man?
It's cyanide now. No.
Yeah, man.
Well, hey, just be aware. We breathe oxygen, but that shit is corrosive. There's a reason oxidization is a unwanted process for most of the time.
You think they would have found a better way to encase stuff and carry stuff than metal, dude? So, or a way to not like have corrosive metal.
Find me some truffles, motherfucker.
Keep the oil.
No, man, but I was going somewhere with that oxygen shit.
We all need oxygen, bro.
Oh, so like the oxygen,
Wait, technically, no, dude. Babies in wombs, how do they breathe?
they get mom's oxygen.
Yeah, but they're not like pushing it through their lungs, are they?
Yeah, once the lung, that's how the lungs develop.
Mom's giving them oxygen?
No. What I meant was when mom breathes,
Yeah.
the baby intakes.
Are you for real?
But then they Google it, but then they use that shit. I don't know what it's called. I keep forgetting what it's called. What's that liquid that they have in the bag?
Amniotic fluid.
Yeah.
That shit. They use that.
Right.
I've seen people eat that shit.
Here's the thing, though. I'm not sure if the amniotic fluid itself carries any oxygen. I think for the most part, it's that
they use that to develop.
Right. It's going in.
Yeah.
They're breathing, but all they're doing is pumping their lungs full and empty of the amniotic fluid. Which is why they cough up a nasty fucking hawk of shit when the baby done be born.
My baby shitted on me, and it looked like.
Oh yeah. Well, that goes back to the thing that will happen to every human being.
Yeah.
Everybody gonna shit.
Yeah. Or you gonna be shitted on.
I forget how that rhyme goes about. Doesn't matter if you're the king or the pauper. Everybody's gonna wind up in the outhouse or something like that.
In utero, the oxygen is delivered through the
placenta.
Placenta to the baby.
Which is what's tied to the fucking bag where they live.
There you go, dude. Hey man, I've seen video footage of people eating the placenta
That's
after the
fucking
baby's
gross,
born.
bro.
Like they eat it like kind of like a puree on cracker.
Somebody told me that they wanted me to bite, that they wanted me to cut the umbilical cord with my teeth. I was like, I'm not fucking doing that.
Look, unless
shit.
you are on a deserted...
They wanted me to pull a fucking Tom Green in that fucking movie. What movie was that?
I don't know.
You remember watching that movie with Tom Green?
Was that Freddy Got Fingered?
Yeah. Freddy Got fingered where he delivered the baby and he fucking bit the...
Okay, but here's the thing. There is a reasonable, logic behind eating the placenta or whatever. If you are perhaps in some nutritional starved location, a desert perhaps, or some island in the middle of nowhere.
With a lot of nutrients. It is.
Yeah, that's why most mammals, the mother will eat the placenta or the afterbirth.
It's the same thing if you drink your piss.
No, not necessarily.
That's your excrement.
And actually, the only legitimate,
all right,
look,
like you excreting.
The only legitimate argument I have ever come across for drinking your own piss is that it can have antibodies that if you're sick.
Well, I mean, but it does keep you hydrated. I mean, in a very fucking nasty way.
You can only do like one or two goes, and then you're losing Yeah, man. And there's, if
you're putting back in the stuff that your body would.
And you're also assuming you're starting off from like a clear piss.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to start off with a yellow or orange piss, man. Like at that point, like that's not going to be.
But if you can do it like the guy in Waterworld, to where you are purifying your piss, then you got something.
Yo, my piss has been clear for the past 3 months.
Yeah.
You don't even have like a little bit of color in the morning?
Yeah.
Okay, well that's, yeah.
In the morning, it's kind of, it's not yellow.
Yeah.
It's a light yellowish, I guess.
Right.
But it looks like Gatorade.
I got you.
The lime Gatorade. I know I fucked that up for people now.
No, I'm pretty sure everybody that ever drank lemon Gatorade fucking...
Looks like that.
That was the P one.
Looked the same going in as it did going out.
Yeah.
Jellos are piss cubes.
Huh?
What?
Yellow Jello is piss cube.
Oh, yellow Jello.
Piss cubed.
If that is not already on the... fuck. Damn, I lost that. The dictionary. The shit. Leo, I'm going to you on this one. I figured you'd know it, man. The online dictionary, the Urban Dictionary.
Urban Dictionary.
How did I lose that one?
Hey, you know what word is in the Urban Dictionary?
Isn't or is?
Donkey punch.
Crunk.
Crunk. Yeah, dude, that's a word on there. I think that was one of the first ones.
And bling.
You don't know nothing about crunk.
No, not really.
And then John was never heard of again.
What?
Ooh. Are you talking about Little John?
Yeah.
Yeah. He had a good career.
He went back to school. I know that much.
Yeah.
He got his bachelor's in business administration. And he still has money, so he must be doing something right.
Well, didn't he
He's
pretty
not
much
broke.
do the same thing that like all those Southern dudes were doing? The fucking like
What?
Master P and fucking Birdman to a lesser extent, which is basically build up a studio and manage other people.
Kind of, but I don't
He
think...
did come up with Crunk Juice. That energy
Yeah,
drink.
but I think that went bankrupt.
It did. It did.
Yeah. Leo's like, yeah, it did.
Yeah, just,
Bad reference.
Yeah.
I may be wrong on this. Maybe somebody has something more to add to the conversation. But for the most part, kids, I think if you become rich, don't ever try to start your own liquor.
Yeah. Well, no,
That was an energy drink, by the way.
No, you
That
can,
wasn't
you
liquor.
can.
Wait, that crunk
'cause
juice
look what-
wasn't liquor?
No, it was
energy drink.
energy drink.
See,
Yeah.
that was the mistake.
That was right.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
There were probably a lot of pissed off people buying that and fucking just.
They
Somebody
should
get
have.
crunk.
They
Oh no, dude! I'm just having a heart attack.
They should have done. They should have taken the 50 Cent way,
Yeah.
or the Diddy way, either water or
liquor.
Ciroc.
You know what I think they should have done, bro? Stocks, bro. Stocks and real estate. I think everybody that invests in stocks and real estate.
I believe it was the RZA that said you must diversify your bonds.
Fuck yeah, dude.
It's property, bro.
I was
Real
waiting
estate.
for him to correct me and be like, no, it was in fact the Jizza.
The jizza. I mean, property is real estate.
That seems to be the way to go in a lot of
Own some
places.
physical land. I think. Good
Yeah.
investment.
Talking to the mic, man.
Oh yeah, yeah. Physical land. Good investment.
Not always. There are certain places and
Yeah.
certain situations in which property is a detriment to.
Well, areas in the Bronx and in Brooklyn and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Were
the
yeah.
Dumbo story.
Yeah, dude.
You ever heard the Dumbo story?
No.
There is this building in the downtown Brooklyn
Yeah.
that it's basically an apartment complex. It's a Section 8 or whatever, government assistance. Now it is, because it was bought by the government. Back in 2000, I think, or 2001, when the whole September 11th thing happened, that whole building, it's like a 10-story building, went on sale for $2 million, and Jay-Z was going to buy it because he wanted to invest in it. I was like, I think this is a good investment. But it was when he was barely getting into investments, and his business advisor told him, Jay, I don't think it's a good idea, man. It's in the middle of the projects. It's Brooklyn. it's gonna it's I don't think it's gonna work. So he went with his business advisor. He went with the advice of his business advisor. Just 4 years later, that building that was worth 2 million was then worth 25 million.
Yeah,
And it was bought by the government.
that's
And a month later, he fired his business advisor.
bro. But I'm telling you, like having something like that physical, you know, that you own. That I mean, maybe in due time, it's only gonna increase a little bit.
Not all the time, but yeah, for the most part.
Yeah, but there's like neighborhoods that fall down, but that's something that you could pass down physically to like your lineage, you know.
Yeah.
And like they have it, so maybe by the time that they're old enough to cash in on that investment, it'll actually be worth like maybe quadruple what you bought it.
Yeah.
You know, it's something that like accumulates and builds up generational wealth, you know?
Okay, where it goes wrong is when you get people that are pretty much speculating in the sense that they go in and buy, say, an apartment complex.
Yeah.
They have no idea how to run an apartment complex. So
I would say not the apartment complex, buy the land that the apartment complex
okay,
is
you're not
on.
understanding me. Those
Yeah.
people are buying already existing
Lands and plots and
with operating, you know, there
Yeah.
are things, people live on these properties or they do business on
Yeah.
these properties already. And either they, one, have to go in and fulfill the contracts
Yeah.
that are already, you know, in
Yeah.
progress, or two, they have to go in and buy everybody out.
But they
and
don't.
then either the land, okay, say they go in and they actually buy a piece of property and attempt to operate it.
Yeah.
Maybe they're successful, maybe they're not. Maybe they try some weird shit
Yeah.
to change
You know,
the tenant.
you know what's more of a for sure thing. But go ahead. Go ahead and finish.
But let's say they go in and they either drive off all the tenants or they buy off everybody, and now they're just sitting with an empty fucking building.
Yeah.
And it's I forget what the effect's called, but basically one broken window in a neighborhood like seems
Yeah.
to psychologically at a certain level lead to an increase in antisocial activity, whether that be crime or just.
But there's a lot of stuff you could do with land. Like land's not just like for use of for residential area. Like you could buy land in commercial areas. You could
True.
like buy land,
Yeah.
farmland. Like there's a lot of there's more ways to diversify with investments in land than there is with other stuff.
Okay,
you
but
know?
consider this, man. A lot of the money is concentrated, not at all,
Yeah.
but for the most part, concentrated in urban areas,
Yeah.
in large metropolitan areas.
Well, if you want to be real smart, you could buy areas that haven't been developed yet. Invest in those areas because eventually they're
Yes,
gonna.
but you have to consider that one, the personality type that is
Yeah.
making all this money in metropolitan areas probably prefers to live in those areas.
No, they're going to. But if everything is expanding, we're running out of green zones, areas where we haven't developed yet. So eventually, at this trend, we're gonna develop a lot of like the areas that are just middle of nowhere kind of zones, you know. So start investing in those areas. Even if anything, it'll be a way to supplement the metro areas, the metropolitan areas, like what you see in Hargill. There people are renting out or paying money to people that have land out there to put those windmills, those turbines, and oil is being pushed out of those areas too, and all this other stuff. You know, like
I'm thoroughly convinced that, don't get me wrong, there are a
Yeah.
lot of those little communities out there that will probably never reach a population size. They'll at some point be absorbed by a larger community or be depopulated
Yeah.
in some sense. But I think Hargill is one of those that has a potential. If there is some investment made, I don't know how you would go about that because there is the poverty rate there is fucking depressing.
yeah, there's not a lot of opportunity out there.
Right, but it's not for lack of resource.
No,
there is
yeah.
land, and there's arable land.
Yeah.
Like there could be a lot of agriculture going on out there, but nobody has. I'm not exactly sure why that is. I'm assuming it's some sort of whoever holds the ownership of the property out there is not developing it in any way.
And to say that it's not like I think it's Port Isabel. Is it no? Not Port Isabel.
Mansfield.
Port Mansfield.
Mm-hmm.
They have that port going on. I'm not sure if it's. I've never been out there. I'm not sure if it's a big commercial port. but they have accessibility to like commercial traffic. You know,
Right. No, it's more of a
private.
Yeah, I was going to go for another word, but I'm not exactly sure which one I was going for. But yeah, it's private vessels and fishing boats and shit like that. Don't get me wrong, there's commercial stuff going on out there. I think there's a little bar restaurant that's been open for at least the last 20, 25 years.
And it employs, I'm guessing, a good chunk of the town, right?
Right, and there's like build up out there. They're like condos and shit like that. Unfortunately, it's one of those places where the infrastructure hasn't been invested in near as much. At least at one point, the sewage, or at least one of the sewage outlets for that, I don't know if the whole town or just the neighborhood, let out exactly or directly by the state-owned or county-owned pier that's out there for the public access. So anytime you wanted to go out there and fish, one, not the best idea to keep the fish, and two, it smelled like shit.
I mean, but also in those areas, dude. I mean, it's also it's a area that you have to go through to go somewhere else.
Oh, well, the split in the island, South Padre, is right there. The naval access, or whatever that's called, where they dredge through the sandbar.
It's an access point. And I think eventually if you own...
Oh, dude, one of the things I've always wanted to do is take a kayak up the waterway.
Yeah.
Dude, have you ever seen video of people out there?
I haven't seen video. But...
It looks like a lawn of green grass with just the clearest blue fucking water, man. Like... It is so fucking beautiful, or at least the images that have been put out there.
Yeah, I've heard people that like go out there though and not kayak, but they'll go swim out there and they'll like
talk on the mic, man.
Oh, they'll go swim out there and they'll go write their books.
I've never been out north of Mansfield. Pretty much the farthest. Like that gap between Mansfield and what's the Corpus Christi.
Yeah, the Port Aransas. No, it's not Port Aransas, is it? Or Port Aransas is north of Corpus.
Yeah, I've always wanted to go to the Riviera. Or Rivera on 77. Yeah. But there's a little.
You know what's more. You know what's more of a for sure thing, man.
What though?
Just if you just. Gas.
What?
Gas.
You buy and sell gas.
This motherfucker's been sitting here the entire time going, all right, truffles and gas.
But if you buy stocks, that's what I'm saying, dude. Buy stocks, dude.
No. I'm talking about you buy gas and you just slang that.
And then you steal the whole gas tanker. Hey, man.
Why steal it? Buy it when it's cheap and then fucking hold on to that shit.
But you need a license.
And also gas degrades.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, not only that, but all of us are like completely skipping the fact that this is illegal. But
I mean, not only that, but it's also like, how long has gas been like our fuel source for cars and stuff like that?
Why do you think there's so many billionaires in Saudi Arabia?
I think eventually we're gonna move electrical, so gas is gonna be like it's already depleting.
Bro, they've been saying that for years. Bro.
It's been more and more apparent though. They've been saying it because it's been presented.
I think you can still make $1 million if you
on gas. I mean, it's something that's not gonna be a for sure thing for much longer.
Yeah. I think we're still good for the next 10 years.
If you buy people, I think people's a good trade.
Look, I think what you'll probably get, man, is the hybrid setup where there's a small combustion engine that can be used to charge the battery, and the vehicle will run off the battery.
I actually saw an episode on that show on Underground Inc. On Netflix, and this dude some guy in Brazil. He was like the head guy, and this dude didn't sell drugs.
Hey, FYI, we're at the 2-hour mark. We're getting close to the 2-hour mark.
He didn't buy drugs. He didn't sell drugs. None of that. He literally like sold stolen gas. He had like huge fucking underground tanks in his backyard, and he would just have people like come fuel up.
And that's also like gas is also something that the government is leading us to believe is our like main fuel source.
Well, dude, look.
You think it's not true?
You want to talk about the government using a narrative down in Mexico right now? What's his name? Fuck.
their president or
Obrador?
yeah,
Obrador?
or something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, point being is his whole, or at least for a while there, for a couple months, I kind of lost track. But he was going big on the whole gas theft. Because if I understand correctly,
They actually do that. What Freddy's talking about?
yes,
Yeah, in Mexico.
yeah. But there's also some suspicion that that's not where the loss of gas is happening. It's more than likely happening at the refinery level, where literally the trucks are pulling up and they're just filling them up and driving them off. It's not like they're robbing trucks on the highway, which is that's probably happening as well. There was that explosion down in right across from Brownsville about
Matamoros.
I think so, man. About 10 years back, they were trying to drill into a gas line down there, and blew the motherfucker up.
Oh shit, yeah.
Yeah, it's happened, dude. It's alarming how many videos from Mexico you find of those refineries blowing up because somebody was fucking around with one of the lines. So that's a happy little note to close the podcast out on.
Yeah,
folks. Freddie, you want to
don't sell drugs.
Don't drill gas lines, kids.
Don't sell drugs.
Sell
gas.
If you get yourself a good lawyer, it's a lot easier to get off. That's all the fuck I'm saying.
I don't know. That's like one way it's like, okay, like you were doing something stupid, and another way you're doing something malicious towards the government because the government makes money off of gas sales.
But they also make money off of everything.
Technically speaking,
they make money off of you, of me. So
our gas taxes is supposed to go to road maintenance,
which we've seen how that has worked out.
Yeah, and we keep buying gas left and right.
By the way, I'm tired of seeing those photographs of like, this is a Roman road that's 2,000 years old and it's perfect and pristine, and here's the
There's
the
been
highway.
Upkeep to those roads, dude.
Yeah, no shit. That's what I'm saying. It's like the Great Wall of China. That shit was falling apart till about 50 years ago.
I know, man.
But yeah, let's cut it off on that of Freddy. Give him your social media, man.
You can find me across the board on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Freddy G.
You can find me at hatfieldstandup@gmail.com, as well as on Facebook and Twitter. You can find the audio version of this podcast at shoutengine.com/bouncing brains, as well as on the Stitcher and Google Music Play app. You can listen to new episodes premiering every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at rgvtitanradio.com at 7 to 9 p.m. You can get in touch with us at bouncingbrainspodcast@gmail.com, as well as Bouncing Brains Podcast on Facebook. We got a group on there. You can talk to each other or just kind of talk shit to us and have it be seen by other people. Speaking of that, we have Twitter under Bouncing Brains, as well as Instagram, so you can send us dick pics. Please don't. We prefer titty shots. But we don't assume.
Please be over 18.
Oh, yes. Please. No. Just no.
Hey, babe.
Oh, not to spoil anything, but that was a great fucking line. It's like, I'm not going jail over some poontang.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Shout out to my man Tarantino. He's all of our man.
Word.
Peace, y'all.
Keep it tight.